Swap production.
I remember Bow Wow when he first came out. Before Erica Mena, before all that craziness, Bow Wow used to, he was, who was he with? He was with Snoop, Jermaine Dupri, and all them. Like, I don't think he ever wrote a rhyme in his life. I mean, still to this day, you can tell the people, I'm writing now. Jermaine, he didn't want to let me write no cuss words and let me turn me loose because of my audience. But, I mean, Bow Wow's always been the same. I mean, I felt bad for him when they robbed him in Chicago when he was a little kid. You know, that's a lot of pressure. They underestimated what was going to happen to him. When he came out to Chicago, he was at the Evergreen Plaza, and they had a little meet and greet with the fans. They didn't know how big Bow Wow was with his record, and how many blacks was actually in the Evergreen Plaza. And it was too many people for that little bit of security that they had. And some people actually got close enough to snatch his little Mickey Mouse chain. So, unless that happened and the rest of the fans just want to grab him and hug him to death, they had to rush him through the parking lot, rush him to the car, and get him out of there because it was just too many people. And, you know, that's traumatic for a person that's just, you know, as young as he was. And, you know, the alleged bad bodyguard situation too that happened to him that I ain't gonna even bring up, but everybody heard about it. So, you know, it's just a bad situation going worse. But the thing we didn't understand was Bow Wow has always been a different type of dude. Like, if we doing something one way, he was never somebody who, he's been in the California limelight a lot, you know, so he's used to being a rich kid since he was a little kid. So it's not like he got a real personality. His personality that you see is all like, you don't know if he's acting. It's like, do he really believe this? You don't know if it's genuine. Nothing that he does is genuine. Because you always think he's on, and 9 times out of 10, he's on. That would explain, like, I'm like, dude, T.I. wrote almost all your songs. When Jermaine Dupri decided that he needed somebody who was more young, more, like, into the lingo, T.I. and another couple writers were the guys that was paid to write for Bow Wow. Bow Wow had some dudes from Chicago writing for him who moved to Atlanta, and then he started having them ATL flow in the later parts of his albums and all the stuff that he was doing. So I didn't really see too much change in him whatsoever, but he's still Bow Wow to me. Because when I met him, he was the same, like, Californians. You know, just same character. You don't know if he's, you know, acting or portraying a role. That's Bow Wow. So, to see the situation now with him and Erica Mena, and hear him talk about that, I don't really care, but some people do. This is another situation where he's in and he's playing a role. And we knew Erica Mena years before all this. She was an inspiring singer, you know, quote unquote, coming into the game, trying to, you know, convince people she's here for the business. She want to sing and she trying to sing for people, and I'm like, we've seen this a million times. And we was with Floyd and them at the time, and she trying to get up with Floyd, and she ended up sleeping with a bunch of people, you know. And I'm quite sure he knows her resume. I wouldn't have to put her resume out there for him to know. So people look at him like he crazy. Like, why would you do this? And this because this chick already got on when she got on this show. Okay, everything else went out the window now that she on this show, and she got notoriety. Now he could use that to keep himself relevant, but he gonna have to pay for that. So I'm like, man, you know, it's like, when do you stop, you know, being a sucker? Every girl he been with basically used him for something. That's it. You know, and hey, all I know is the last time you don't know if you and Bow Wow are friends. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always on. So the beef with him and Soulja Boy would break down into an essence of ego. Soulja Boy ain't been rich long. Bow Wow's been rich for a long time, like having money. So the attitudes are a little different. And they were on to something. It didn't know how big the situation was when those two were going back and forth, talking about each other on the videos. It was all friendly. Then it ended up getting disrespectful because both sides don't know how to check their own egos. And to keep making these videos going back and forth at each other was leading to diss tracks against each other and it was ridiculous. It was like, look, nobody really cared to see that. You guys was on a great idea to promote your stuff, going back and forth with videos, because at that time with YouTube, it wasn't really used like that, except for when Game and Bow Wow was finna battle each other on in the John Madden game. Nobody had thought to be using the YouTube in that sense of communicating back to forth with each other, which made Google come up with the idea of, we need to come out with Google Hangouts. Now that's great. We have everybody chatting and interacting back and forth. Because now, instead of speaking to each other through videos, now it's more interactive. So that's basically it. I mean, for the one guy who begged me for like 4 months straight about Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, I mean, that's about it. That's about it. You know, I've met Bow Wow many a times, and whoever he was around, that's basically, you know, he was always on. You know, like, you don't know, like Chris Brown ain't that way. Chris Brown is Chris Brown, period. He's high energy, he's young, he's eager, period. Bow Wow, who's older than Chris Brown, actually is like, he tries to be the mentor, but he acts as if he's 30 million records sold. He made about $60 million or something. You know, you would think he has amassed all this wealth the way he talks to people. And it's like, dude, you know, yeah, she was in Roll Bounce. My mama liked that movie. But, you know, besides that, you know, I mean, what, I can't think of a Bow Wow song right now from that wasn't so deaf. You know, but to be doing that from that young of age all the way up to where he is now, I mean, that would be very difficult to do for anybody who had their childhood like really just on the road all the time. But Bounce with Me was the jam. There hadn't been another kid that come along in a long time. No kid rap group, and everybody was trying to go get a Lil somebody. It was Lil Zane, all these Lil somebodies, and then but Lil Wayne was older, so he was different. That's it. I mean, really, there's no need to continue on with this video. I'm completely done with it. But that was my thoughts about the battle, which it really wasn't a battle. It was just people couldn't check their egos. So there you go. You got a little extra today with the Soulja Boy and Bow Wow thing that you cared about. I'm out.